Reconciliation on the soul level. Why am I doing this? Why do I want to do this show? Why? That's what a lot of people are wondering. This is what we have to ask ourselves sometimes. When we do these visions of I am required to do that in my vision versus I want to reconcile my relationships with those on the other side of the veil, right? It's about reuniting with our hearts first before we go through that process. What I am about to show you is a breaking up of a soul into bits, right? I was aligned with 5 or 6 souls who knew me as if they were my best friends. And then it's like chaos ensued in my mind. I was a troubled soul at one point, needing help and hoping for it. What I never, ever encountered on the other side of the veil was a hatred of myself. What I always wanted was to be known as the beauty of soul, right? This is more about who I am rather than who she was. When people go through the process of soul embodiment and or they are channeling for others, they know very well that those issues that we bring up are there not to frighten others, but to help. And that's why Brenda is doing this one. You see, in her wisdom, she took on a soul that said, I'm ready to reconnect, right? It was a reconciliation. That word was actually used by a soul of a soul of a soul. We're talking about those levels of love that many understand if they've gone through the process. Who am I here versus who is on the other side, right? So what happens when we are not ready in this realm of love to reconnect with those on the other side of the veil who are hearing their visions brought through? This is literally about those who are in the vision of love of all and cannot handle dealing with 1 or 2 souls on this plane of love. Others will say, this isn't love. It is. When you say, I forgive you, does that mean you come back into my life and everything is wiped clean? That's what happens on a soul level. We reunite, we understand what we did, and then we move forward in our journeys. What can happen is that those who say, I miss you and I want to reconnect with you, might get their hats handed to them by other souls, correct? It depends on where you land. Brenda was just wanting to move on from a soul vision that was so destructive in her mind at one point that she reconnected with her own soul and said, now let's let the soul vision begin. You see, this isn't about me telling you that we have to do any such thing when we go over. You will find so many expressions of love on the other side of the veil. That's why so many do indeed value those guides who would say, what does that mean for me? I want to move away from those souls that hurt me. That's usually what this process is about. It's usually about saying, I honor your creative endeavor to create with me. I honor your vision as one of love for you. It didn't feel like love for me, is where many are going. That was not a loving gesture, is what I was told. So, What we have to do is accept those visions as lessons. Often it can be the strength of, I'm going to grow from that wisdom that was handed to me, and see where I played my own part in that process of creating chaos in a relationship that is no more. It is there in name. It is there in vision questing. I still have those moments of memories. I still have those moments of sadness. That's where your souls will start to lift up those veils and say it wasn't all that bad. For some of us, we're not talking about those most destructive visions of abuse. We're talking about those who we don't really want to create with anymore due to various circumstances. You see, those levels of love often do move on. And Brenda was told that vision that she was witnessing and participating in, instead of listening to the advice of the other soul's vision, was to announce its pleasure in doing that vision. I'm here to challenge you to a duel of the minds, right? It's of soul vision. So often, what we do when we're going through this process is we go, what relationships have I not dealt with here that need to be dealt with? What creative outcomes could possibly come from a friendship gone asunder, right? They were wanting to reconnect on a soul level. That vision is very wise and kind in her heart. She is hurtful in her words. That is where Brenda was. There were words that were hurtful. But Brenda has her own visions of, I was a victim of it, and then I let it go. I had to let go for my own peace of mind and for the sake of my own soul. And that's why those visions of, I don't have to reconnect with anybody that I don't truly, truly love. Do you see the difference between the love of all and the love of your own soul? Brenda would stop every once in a while, and she would have her soul come in and say, I'm right there with you. It is a loving guidance system that she utilizes that helps her vision quest with all of us to a place of love for each other. And when we say to ourselves, I don't need to hurt you anymore in my mind, that's where most are. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to be friends either, right? How many of us say we don't create beauty together? We create no matter what we're creating together. It doesn't have to be of beauty, right? So that's where those relationships of struggle can often be the source of wisdom for many. It's not meant to say, hang around and hurt for eternity, right? It becomes more like a joyful encounter where we say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I let that vision blow up. You know, that's what happens. People want to know, do we have to reconnect with everyone on the other side of the veil? Not even close. What you might find is that your souls have done their work and they're able to move on. Or you may find that those that you want to reconnect may have other ideas about what they want to do when they go on the other side of the veil. You see, we don't have the attachments to everybody in our minds when we cross over. We start to understand that we have loving, caring, adoring fans, and I want to say thank you for watching. I want to acknowledge all of those souls who are understanding that vision. What painful memory do I have to relive? Others would say we move on. There's a difference when you go through the process of soul embodiment and guidance for others. There is a big difference going through this process and then saying to yourself, I can help others with that kind of wisdom. And that's what Brenda was actually told. You are here to help others. reconcile with those visions of other that they are no longer creating with. It is a process of reconciliation in many ways with your own soul at your side. You are never alone in your journey. You are never alone in your visions of love for all. Most of you are saying, I don't have it in me to do that work. It doesn't mean you would be going through anything traumatic. It could be you have the resources available with your own soul's wisdom to bypass certain avenues of destruction. You see, many are saying, oh, I have to go through the drudgery of soul work. No, you don't. But when you go through this place of, I need to help others, I'm required to in certain others' ideas. Others are saying if you go through the process of soul embodiment, you're here to guide others. And that's almost always the case. It is not the case for everybody, but it is a process of helping others down the road who want to come into the nature of reuniting with their own soul first, and then embodying the wisdom of it, and then highlighting it, and then saying, yeah, I'm all that and more. That's what we do. And when others look at us and say, I can handle that kind of vision, you would be surprised how many people in your sphere of influence, and I'm not talking about those who are like my beloveds on the screen, okay? There are people who are saying, I'm the beloved of you. I have one who I utilize that word for, who is not necessarily the vision of my soulmate, because so many people have put so many labels on people as soulmates. So the beloved is what Brenda is calling the soul of her heart. It's not her soul, but it's another vision of another one that she connects with. For us, we usually say our hearts. So in this vision, you all are my heart. That's the nature of it. And so what I want you to think about is if we are in a struggle mode with each other, would I come to you and say, I need you to forgive me now and make sure you become my friend again right away? Doesn't that sound like an immature vision of what a childhood friend would say? It's the pain of rediscovering our friendship that can often be the struggle point. Those awkward moments of reunification where we are here with our minds telling us, I still have an issue, versus others who say, I let that go. This is what happens. So when you are in the vision of, I have reunited with my soul, I am in those visions of love of all, it doesn't mean I have to hear the heartbreak of others. It doesn't mean that I have to choose life as misery. So when someone says, I don't want to create with those who are so embattled in their minds, and I have to then pretend that I want to go in and save them, Brenda backed off from that vision of I need to go in and save everybody. She would say rescue, to be honest. And that's when people start to say, but wait a minute, our pattern as friends were to always help each other out. Not always. And what we do is that many of us in the spiritual enlightenment visions, and perhaps in any other, psychological vision, we start to realize, especially on a soul level, that some of us are here to suffer a little bit in order to break free of those who are not creating wonders of the world for us, right? If we are in a painful relationship, that is different than creating from a place of we've disconnected from time ago. You see, Brenda has that vision of all of her school friends from past who she let go of in a gentle way come and ask her those questions. Why did you leave our group? I wasn't afraid to tell you what I thought about who you were. That's where a lot of it is. Some of us are those gentle souls that would rather disconnect from those here in a soul manner that is of love and dignity for both of us, versus those of us that are saying, yeah, I treated someone like, dirt, and now they're coming back at me. The relationships you hold are dear whether you know it or not, because they are guiding you in the vision of who you are in this realm. You are very different in other realms of enlightenment. So on another path, Brenda's soul is still creating as a friend of sorts with that other soul. They are dear to each other still, even in this realm. And Brenda would be the first one to admit it. She wishes her nothing but happiness and joy. I don't think we were creating that with each other. You see, that's the difference. There's an honesty in that moment. Do you really want people to be happy, or do you want them to be regretful for whatever hurts they've done to you? Now this is going to open up the nature of reconciliation. Because in her heart as a soul, we would say, apology accepted. Brenda was hearing the apologies from so many souls. Once they realized that in her vision, she was like, if I know that on this level that I create with, that if I'm doing harm, I will set my pride aside and apologize, take responsibility for what I do, and hopefully aim to do better with good-hearted effort, versus I just need to be a part of your show because I see you're doing beautiful work. She's been told this other soul is somehow part of the equation. We are meant to do guidance work together. It was one path of love for these souls. So, what is it about the soul level and the reconciliation process that is so fascinating? Many of you understand that nature when you have seen the various episodes of mediumship that have come through. But what happens when you are already here and you're connecting with those that are still here on a soul level? That's a whole different ball of wax. It's a fast lane ticket to paradise, but it's strong for many. That's why there are so many souls who say, I just aim for the stars and that's what I go for. I don't need to be bogged down in the internet's blame and shame game. That's where a lot of people go. Brenda is one of, I am responsible for my behaviors, my thoughts as well. I don't hold others' thoughts against them. What I do is I understand it, and I understand that we are not even close to understanding how strong that vision is for others. If you see me understanding someone, you know it's not from the place of, I am an empath and I have now traveled into your energy field and I am feeling your vision and your wisdom. That's where those empaths now start to understand I wasn't really in that mode. You wouldn't feel bad if someone else was feeling good. It's a mind mess that creates with for many, you see. That's where you would have to be able to set your own vision aside. Others say, I only go in as far as being able to tell what's going on, and then I heal that vision, right? How dare you try to come into my vibration and change who you think I need to be? That's the strength of soul. That's the ticket. I don't need to go in and judge whether someone else is not in the right vibration, do I? Just because I don't align with it doesn't mean I go in and change who they are. This is why she gets the heavy hitters when it comes to soul work. Do you think I align with some of the political ideology souls that are coming through? But it's the respect, right? Does it mean that I take their energy on? She's aligned with her soul, so she's embodied as well. And that's the beauty. The channeling can be a butt kicker if you're not in a high vibration. Mastery is what it takes. How many people want to know what the mastery of soul is like? It means when you're on, you're on. I don't disconnect from my own soul. I'm embodied. Others will say, well, does it feel like that all the time? No, you are you. You're beautiful, but you are embodied in a way where you are able to heal your body. You're able to heal your mind. You're able to hear the vision of love coming to you always, whenever you need it. But there are some of us here who are aligning with the vision of I am still connecting with those souls on various levels, depending on what my own level of understanding and vibration is. The frequency bands that I travel are very strong. I can do just about every frequency that some people are thinking that they're hitting. But it's not about the vibration of all. Most people know we are not even close to hitting the highest of the highs. Brenda knows what those visions feel like. But when you're with your own vision of who you are, it fits like a glove. You don't need to feel like you're walking on water, right? Those are those souls. She's connecting with that one. It's literally, I can feel it. I can honor it. My soul loves me. I'm adored. I'm cared for. And when I'm out of sync with my own soul, that's when some of those other ideas of who I am start to kind of come in, and it can feel a little peculiar. Okay? This is why we say ground ourselves, right? Okay, this is what's going to be funny. Brenda was always like, everyone's always saying ground yourself, ground yourself, ground yourself. True. It's true. I do it with exercise and with music and with knitting. I ground myself in repetition of my hands. I don't do the spiritual enlightenment vision of all these procedures and things that I need to do. They're all beautiful. I set myself up for success. Here's why. Because I don't make it that I rely on any tool or vision as a necessary requirement for me to go out into this world and do my work. I don't need to chant. I love chanting. I don't need to do any kind of vision questing ahead of time. I don't need to light candles. They're beautiful. I love candles. I don't need to wear any special thing. I used to carry a guardian angel pen when I was a child, and my wishes came true. She's taking over the session, you can tell. So let's think about that. So this is the nature of reconciliation. I love you. If you're angry at me, please just let me know, right? No. No. Some people are meant to go and do their own work. You're angry at me, why? What did I do to you? Did I hurt you? Did I offend you? Do you see the difference? You can have words of wisdom, or you could just be, wait a minute, that's on me. And that's what Brenda knows. My vision of love for all souls means that I have the responsibility to do the work that I need to do for me before I go and try to go heal somebody else, right? No, I've already done that work. But it's more about that idea of those who say, I'm reconciling, reuniting. There's a difference. If your soul is here saying, honey, your own soul is giving you the wisdom, isn't that a little bit easier than pretending that you're hearing it from another soul's vision. You see, that's the nature of what others are going to start to see. You hear the tonal visions. Last night, that's an on-the-spot guidance session. She knows she's attached, right? There's a person there who's saying she's attached to another soul. Break the bond. No, we are all connected. I don't have any weird energy cords running through my body. I'm a soul embodied. I connect with anybody. It's my job to make sure I'm not putting out information that is somehow harming somebody. How many people have the visuals of my cords of attachment are released? That's a beautiful vision. Others will say we have energetic vibrations that are saying this is going to offend some people. But if I'm not creating the cords in the first place, I connect with my heart and my mind. The visions of struggle are in my mind. How do I deal with it? In my mind. My mind. And that's why we want to honor all of your hearts who are listening and saying, but I was told X, Y, or Z. This is usually where some of those visual exercises of release. It's a beautiful vision. Don't take it personally if you're like, no, I know, I see energy and I see the attachments. You've created that vision along with somebody else in your mind, most likely. You see energy, you see visions of love. You see many things. Others see ghosts. Others see nothing. Others see wisdom radiating from the souls. Others will see shades of color. Okay? Your own vibration and frequency is what determines what you experience on the soul level. So you have to align yourself with the idea, do I want to be going around cutting off people from my vision, or do I want to go in and do the work that actually needs to be done? My soul will connect with their soul and say, what's going on? The vision comes through as here's a healing vibration, the words of wisdom for all of us to help us release those visions of attachment. Visions of attachment versus I'm aligning with the vision of my love. And now I say I break free, right? I break free from you, my love. That's where most are going. Because it is not about demeaning any other vision of what can or can't be done in the moment to help us free ourselves. I've done the rose throwing, I've done the cord cutting, I've done everything, right? Until you do your work. It's a self-help manual, really, to be honest, right? It's not meant to demean anyone's vision because those energetic vibrations do come through. But we do have to understand that we're all creating from different levels of love. It's love. Okay, case in point, the journey into the unknown. Others will say that is not a pleasant journey that I went on. It's still of love. You just didn't vibrate into a higher level of it. That's the nature of it. That's what happens when you come to me. You're going to get the realms of love handed to you. They could be of exploration and discovery, but it's all love. It's all love. You just haven't experienced it as such because of where you are in your own heart. Sometimes, very few. We're always there in the love. But our minds, okay, we create those realms that we want to vibrate in. You want to vibrate in the beauty of paradise? By all means, let's keep creating from that vision of paradise. But for now, in an effort to reconcile this vision, right? Reconciliation for those of us who are having our heart palpitations. Okay, I know people who have heart palpitations on the screen. You're going to need to see me at some point so we can talk about what that means. Because there's something going on with that vision. It's not always a doomsday scenario, by the way. And we actually get you out of that for the most part, if at all possible. Your soul knows how to aim you into a different path of discovery. Because that's where we go. There's no fixed anything. The possibilities are endless. So why align with something where you're being attacked and attached and whatnot? Take a different journey. Come with me. We'll go together. We'll find those visions of love wherever we go. It may be that we discover some unpleasant surprises every once in a while. But when we go there, we know how to deal with it. And that's the nature of the love of our souls. We're not always in the best of places, are we? But we know how to rise out of it. And that's the nature of love of all. So with that, I want to say thank you for your attention. Thank you for your wisdom as we combine in this beauty of love wherever you are. My heart says thank you. My mind says I welcome you always, no matter who you are. And with that, I want to say have a wonderful, wonderful evening.